Welcome to Cavaletto Studios. I'm Chris. Roll, then stretch. Today our foam rolling will include the upper back, glutes, TFL, calves, and quads. Using a tennis ball, we will get deeper into the TFL and those calves. Wrapping things up with some static stretching for more hydration to those areas we just rolled. So grab your mat, a foam roller, and that tennis ball, and let's get started. Going to begin with our upper back today. So bring your feet out in front of you, heels on the floor, roller behind you. You're going to roll back and place your shoulder blades on the foam roller. Bring your fingertips wide behind your ears. First thing we're going to do is just test out our range of motion by leaning back, curving our body, upper body over the foam roller. If it feels intense and it's hard to breathe, you might have the roller too low on the shoulder blades. If you feel like you can't move at all, it might be too high. So you kind of have to find your sweet spot. Take a couple breaths here, opening up the elbows, lengthening through the neck so you don't have any tension in that neck. And then walk your feet about hip distance apart. And you're going to press through your feet. You're going to lift those hips, and we're going to roll the upper back. Roll to the top of the shoulder blades and to the bottom. And then back and forth, get a nice little chiropractic adjustment. Might feel a couple little pops, as long as it feels good. Making sure you're breathing. Couple more. Go back to the middle of those shoulder blades, and then you're going to lower those hips to the floor. And go ahead and drop both knees to your left and roll onto the left shoulder blade, left armpit area. If you're missing lymph nodes, you're not going to roll all the way into that armpit or the chest wall. You might stay way back further into the shoulder blade area. So while you're here, leaning on that armpit lat, so you're a little behind that armpit as well. You're going to take your left arm and you're going to extend it straight out behind you and place your palm on the mat or the floor, and then draw your left ear towards your left arm. Now if it's too far down and you need to hold the head with your right arm, you can. Just let your right arm either rest on the side or the roller, and then just start to rock your body side to side. So your chest wall is rolling towards the roller, and then you're rolling backwards towards that shoulder blade, and then forward again. So just getting into that upper shoulder blade and upper back behind that shoulder. Make adjustments as needed. See if you can scoot your hips a little closer to the roller, and so the roller slides down a little bit lower, and then rock back and forth again. So now you're kind of down a little below that armpit, and rock back, and then just stay rocked backwards into that shoulder blade. Lift your head enough to bring your left hand under your head so you can really lengthen. Slide your elbow backwards, so it's kind of going towards the middle of your roller or towards your back. So you're really lengthening and stretching through the shoulder and the armpit. And then draw your body gently forward just enough that you're starting to go almost towards that chest wall. You're at the top, kind of close to that top rib. And just find your breath. Feel that little stretch through the arm. Maybe you're super flexible and you don't feel a lot of stretch. Everybody's a little different. And then roll it backwards all the way. So your elbow comes off the floor. Slide yourself down towards the front of your mat so you can bring the very top edge of your shoulder onto that roller. And then place your elbow on the roller too. So if you're super far forward and your elbow's coming off, slide backwards, even if you're on a short roller. Make sure that whole shoulder elbow area is on the roller. Elbows bent, Make a fist with your right hand and place it on your shoulders to support the neck. And then rock your body forward slightly so your right elbow is kind of tucking inside your left elbow. And then rock back again. So you're getting right at the top edge of the back of that left shoulder. And then rock a couple more times. Might be feeling this. One more. Good. And then we're going to release. Roll all the way onto your back, maybe sliding up a bit. So you're getting right back in there, the back of that shoulder. We will be doing the other side, but first let's go to the elbows wide, hold behind the ears, feet flat, lift the hips. Let's roll the upper back again. Might feel a little easier, stretching out those elbows nice and wide. One more roll up and down. And then you'll lower your hips again as you find the middle of those shoulder blades. Now you're going to drop your hips and knees to the right. Bring your right elbow over the top. So now you'll see the back view. So you're getting the upper shoulder blade, your armpit, right armpit is on the roller. Extend your right arm out in front. So it's extended on, so your palm goes on the floor. Draw your right ear to your shoulder or your arm. Left hand can just be resting or bring it to the roller. Start to rock yourself forward and back, armpit, and then back into the shoulder blade. Palm stays on the floor. So this can be very intense too if you have any issues going on in the shoulders, in the upper back, if it's really tight. Any old injuries can also cause, you might have some trigger points there. Again, same thing on the right. If you're missing lymph nodes, then let's stay backwards and you just lay back on the shoulder blade and you don't rock side to side. One more. Now you're going to scoot your hips just slightly towards the roller so you can slide the roller a little bit lower. You're going maybe a ½ an inch on the roller below the armpit, and then again rock forward so you're getting in a little closer to that chest wall, maybe the top of that rib. Might be a little more tender here as you roll back and forth. So hopefully you can see where I'm going here. There's a little bit of space. My armpit is not really touching the roller. I'm just below it. Last one. Now you're going to scoot down. So now you're getting that whole shoulder back on the roller. Take your left hand, hold on to your head with it. Slide down. So hopefully you can see the very top edge of my right shoulder is on the roller. And you can either hold the head or make a fist and let your head rest. Right arm is bent and the elbow is on the roller. Now start to rock yourself forward so your left elbow goes towards the roller or to the right arm and then back. So again, you're right at the top of that shoulder. Make adjustments. If you're too high, you might be hitting that little bone area, so you might have to go a little lower. If you're too low, you might not be feeling a whole lot. Make adjustments that feel good to you. And then rock forward at the back. So you're drawing your chest towards that roller and then rolling backwards. And 2 more. Then roll all the way back onto your back one last time. This time you're going to bring your elbows up by your forehead, fingertips behind the head, tuck your chin slightly, lift your hips, and then roll your back. So you might feel the muscles along the back a little more now. Don't forget to breathe. 2 more rolls. And then find the middle of those shoulder blades, and then go ahead and lower your hips back to the floor. And then bring yourself all the way up. A couple shoulder rolls. We're going to go through all the different areas, and then we'll stretch at the end. So then we're going to move up onto glutes. So go ahead and lift yourself onto your roller. We're going to start on the left side. So you're going to take your left hand, place it behind you on the roller, and lean onto that left glute, and let's roll ourselves to the top of the butt cheek and all the way to the bottom. So you're getting that whole range of motion, looking for those speed bumps, those roadblocks, any of those trigger points in the glute that could be inhibiting some rotation of the hips and causing some low back pain. So this can help release, soften the tissue so you move better. Release that tension. Now we're going to go a little deeper into the glute. So you're going to take your left foot, you're going to lift it off the floor. You're going to cross the ankle, left ankle over the right thigh, and then roll again to the top and to the bottom of that glute. Now if you find a trigger point or a tender spot, you pause on it and you gently pull that left knee up and down. And then you just move on and back and forth again. All the way to the top, all the way to the bottom. Now from here, we're going to extend that left leg straight out to the front of your mat. Go ahead and drop onto your left elbow, and then roll yourself slightly forward so you go to the very top of your glute, but you're not on your low back. And then start to roll your whole body to its left side. And then your right knee is bent and the right foot is on the floor behind your left leg. And then start to rock yourself forward so your belly goes towards the roller and then backwards towards your glute. So we're getting into the TFL. So if you're hitting that hip bone, bring that roller lower. So you're going across the middle of that left hip. On the outside edge, that is our TFL, tenor fascia latae, attaches to our IT band. And that can get very tight and cause hip issues and limited range of motion in our movement. One more time, now draw that belly forward towards the roller so you're laying on your side, and just hold it there for a moment. If it's super intense, ease off on the pressure. And then roll back onto that glute. Now what we're going to do here is we're going to slide off of the roller forward. We're going to get hold of our tennis ball here. Now that soft spot on the side that we were just working, go ahead and put your roller to the back. You're going to lay back down on your left side. Just bend your elbow. You can support your head. Your right knee again is bent, left foot on the floor. You're laying on your left glute side. Place that tennis ball right below that hip, right in that soft spot that you were just on, and then roll onto the side. Now that can be super intense, so if it's too intense, put more weight into your right foot on the floor and just lay there. And now find your breath. Inhale and exhale. And again, make adjustments. If it's crazy intense, then push more weight. Again, keep pushing into that right foot so it's not painful. Now we're going to bring some movement in if you would like to try it. You can also place your right hand on the floor for balance, and then start to draw your left leg, bending the knee, pulling it up. Again, that can be a little intense, that tennis ball there, and then straighten that leg back out, and then bend the knee again. Are you feeling that? Yeah. Make sure you give me a thumbs up on the video if you are feeling that TFL. Straighten the leg. We do one more time. Bend and straighten. And then straighten and just rest. Might feel a little less intense here. Make adjustments, and then you're going to roll backwards so you come off of that tennis ball, and let's set it to the side. And now we're going to switch sides. So now you're sitting on the right glute. The right hand is behind you, feet flat on the floor. Now let's roll that right butt cheek. So move your body forward so you go to the top of the glute, and then slide yourself back so it goes to the bottom. Using those legs, most of your weight is on the roller. Finding any trigger points. This side might be a little more tender, that's why I started with the left, because sometimes if you're right dominant, it can be a little more tender or a little more restricted or tight. Find the middle of that glute, lift that right foot off the floor, and then bring it up and cross it over the left thigh. We're going to roll that whole glute again to the top and the bottom, back and forth. And if you find a trigger point, again, just a reminder to move that knee gently up and down. It's like getting into that and massaging it out, that trigger point. If it's super tender, just do it briefly and then move past it. Sometimes when there's a lot of discomfort, we need to roll less time, but more often to get into those areas. 2 more rolls. Top and bottom. Now you're going to extend your right leg straight out on the mat. Go ahead and drop to your right elbow. Move yourself down so you go to the very top of your glute. Left leg is bent, foot is on the floor. Start to draw your body sideways so you go onto that right hip, making sure your hip bone is a little above the roller so you're not on the roller on the bone. And then just start to rock yourself. Your belly goes towards the roller, and then roll back into the upper glute. Forward and back. Forward and back. So it can get kind of tight in here. If you're going way forward, you might be getting into a little of that hip flexor in the front of that hip. It's a good place to just get it massaged out there so you get more range of motion. Less rotation, like less pulling on the hip, pulling it out of alignment, out of how it's supposed to be. One more time. And then roll forward and just hold it here. Keep that left foot planted into the floor. You might even try moving that right leg a little bit up and down, or just hold pressure there. Noticing the difference between this side and the other side. If your neck is getting tired, feel free again to make a fist, place it on your shoulder, or even hold your head, because you don't want to have any pain in the neck. Now we're going to slide off of the roller, and this is where you're going to slide it. Go ahead and move it out of the way and grab your tennis ball. And now we're going to lay down on our right side. Make sure you're supporting your head. You're laying on basically the right glute, and then find that soft spot. So find your hip bone, place that tennis ball there, start to roll onto your right side. Now your left knee is bent, left foot is on the floor, and just breathe here. Make adjustments, push more into that left foot if it's super intense. Can you tell a difference from one side to the other? You might even be able to tell from my face when I put that tennis ball. I'm like, whoo. And again, adjust it. You don't want it to you can see how forward mine is in the front. You don't want to have it hiding way under there in the upper glute. You'll probably feel that too, but you want it more to the front outer edge of that thigh. Now, if you'd like to try some movement, again, you can bring the left hand to the floor for balance. You can try to draw that right knee up and back down. If that's too painful or too intense, I do not recommend it. Just take your time. And again, roll off of the tennis ball if it's too much. You might need to call your massage person and say, okay, I got some tight low back or tight TFL, need some work. So otherwise pull that knee up and down. You might feel it relaxing a little. You might feel it down into the leg more. Because remember, that IT band is involved there. But this is the muscle part, the tenor fascia latae. Has a big job. It's a little muscle. 2 more pulls with the knee, if you're doing that. Otherwise, just rest. Now you're going to roll back off of the tennis ball and go ahead and send it out of the way, and we're going to sit all the way up. Now from here, we're going to take that foam roller and we're going to push it out in front of us, and we're going to move on to calves. So we went from upper back to glutes, and now we're moving all the way down to the lower part of the leg. And so go ahead and send both legs out onto to the roller. And you're going to separate your feet, maybe about hip distance apart, hands on the floor behind you. And you're going to lift your body up off the floor with your arms and just glide yourself forward and back on both legs. Might have to move your hands closer to you as you get closer to the knees. Maybe you have to put your hips down on the floor to get a little range of motion, to get moving those arms. If you cannot lift your upper body, just bend and straighten the knees and make a little scooching with the glutes a little forward, and bend and straighten as we do both legs at the same time here. And just notice what's going on. Notice when you bend and straighten or you're gliding, if one leg has more knots than the other. Now you're going to bring both legs a little closer. I want you to tilt both legs to the right, lift your body up, and again, roll. Or bend and straighten. And notice where you might have some tender spots. You're going to lower your hips, turn both legs to your left, and the feet to your left, lift your hips, and again, roll up and down. Can you tell a difference? Is one upper calf or lower calf lower leg a little different? And again, you can always just bend and straighten with the legs to the left. So you got options here. And then we're going to go back to center. And then you're going to take that foam roller and you're going to move it to the side. And we're going to go with the tennis ball. So straighten out both legs. Now you're going to start on that right calf, and I want you to place the tennis ball more to the outside edge of the right upper calf. Find the meatiest part of the calf. You can put your hands behind you flat or knuckles, or just let them in front, and just let your right heel rest on the floor, and just lean into it and just hold it there. Hold that tennis ball there. Weight is on it. If you want a little extra weight on it, you can cross the left ankle over the right. And again, you're just holding that tennis ball in place. And you can also move the tennis ball down just a tiny bit, cross and press again. So here we're just doing a little pressure point towards the outside edge of that calf. Move down a little more. Anybody feeling that? And a little more. And as you move down, you might feel it more, you might feel it less. Keep moving that ball down just a little at a time. And we're still on the outside back edge of that right calf. Move it down a little more. And again, we're not moving anything, we're just putting pressure right on that tennis ball. And if you have a lacrosse ball or you're using a different kind of ball, that's fine. But you want about the size of a lacrosse or tennis ball. A little lower, so you're getting right down towards the ankle there. It gets a little more challenging to balance on that without the ball rolling out. Last one, get all the way down. So you got your bone of the, right on the outside edge of that ankle, so you're right above it. And remember that foot. Now you're probably turning the foot a little bit out to the right to get down there. Now you're going to release, and we're going same leg, but you're going the inside edge. So now, before I had my tennis ball way out here to the right, now I'm pulling it inside to the, and I'm below the knee, but in like the meaty part of the calf. And then again, pressure, or place that left leg on top, and just hold that tennis ball there. And notice what you're feeling. You might feel your hip, you might feel your foot. It's all connected, that fascia tissue. Move that ball down an inch or so. Another little bit. Now we're on that inside edge. A little lower. And just notice what you're feeling. Did you have more knots on the outside edge? How's it feeling as we're getting closer to the ankle? A little lower. So you don't have to spend a ton of time here. And then keep moving it lower. I'm just doing a little bit of pressure. It's like if you had a knot, you just do this, put the thumb in there, like if you had a knot in your quad, and you just do a little massage. Okay, move on. Same thing, keep going, almost there. Everybody has different leg lengths also, so maybe you're already at your ankle. Maybe you moved it quicker than me, and then get all the way down close to the, so you're kind of, I'll do it on this leg so you can see. So you're pretty close to the edge there, but you're on your right leg. I just want to make sure you can see where I have it. Good, then we're going to release. Now we're going to the other leg. So you're going to go to the outside edge of the left. So you can see that tennis ball in the meaty part of that calf muscle, that gastroc, and then just option to cross the leg. That intensifies it a bit because you're adding more pressure. And just breathe. Notice what's going on. And then moving that tennis ball a little lower. And we're just holding it and resting and pausing here. One more. And another one. Another inch. One more inch. Keep moving it on down. Can you tell a difference? I could totally tell a difference from one leg to the other. There we go, moving on down. And some areas might be a little more tender, so you might want to leave it there a little longer. Some areas are like, oh, I'm good there. And a little lower. Another inch. And again, you don't have to have your right leg crossed over the left. I'm just adding a little pressure there. Another inch. So we're getting pretty close to that ankle there. Another inch. You might notice also if you're leaning forward or back. All right, last one, you're right here by that back, the bottom ankle, and you're going to cross that leg and just pause and hold it right here. So now you're going to the inside edge of the left. So place it at the meaty part, sticking out. Good, and crossing that right leg. And then just add a little pressure there. And breathe. You also have the option, if you'd like, you can also, if your back is, if you're getting tired or you've got some low back issues, feel free to bring the roller behind you. You can lean on it. You can even use it to push yourself forward. Now, when you do that, you're going to feel a little more intensity in that calf. Moving that tennis ball down. And move it down another inch. And move it down another inch. And another inch. Getting closer to the ankle. Another inch. So can you tell, how's that right calf? Let me know in the comments if you have a right or left side's tighter in that calf. Or if you've noticed more on the outside edge of one, inside edge of the other. That's always really interesting to see how the body compensates and what areas are working more. Now you're getting down to the bottom part. When you get there, you kind of have to turn that left leg a little to the right, finding that balance. And listen to the body. If it's excruciatingly painful, don't put so much pressure. That's your body telling you, yeah, don't go there. That's too much. And then we're going to release. Take that tennis ball and go ahead and set it to the side. So if you don't have that roller available, go ahead and pull it back onto your mat long ways. I should say short ways across the mat. We're going to turn over and we're going to move on to quads. So you're going to bring that roller right above the knees and we're going into a plank position on the elbows. So drawing down onto your elbows and your hands on the floor, right above the knees with that roller. Start by rolling yourself forward and back on that roller. 1 inch, just forward and back 1 inch. Just a small movement. Now we're going to walk the elbows back 1 inch and then move forward and back 1 inch. Kind of like we did with the tennis ball, but we're actually moving on this one. Quads, I would say probably one of the most important places to roll on the body because of it crosses over 2 major joints of the body through the hips and through the knees. Walk those elbows back again. Think about lengthening through the spine here, lengthen through the neck. Think about your core holding you up, supporting your back. Walk it back another inch, forward and back. You might even notice the difference between the right and left thigh when you go this way. Are you leaning more to one than the other? See if you can maintain your body weight equal. Walk it back another inch. Now when you go forward and back, you can 4, 6, 10 times, whatever works for you. If it's super tender, just do a little bit. You can also maybe try a softer roller. I have a black roller, which means it's one of the most dense rollers you can get. They have different kinds. They're medium density, soft density, moving up the roller up a little higher. Now when you get to the top of your quads and you can't comfortably go any higher, you're going to actually place your left hand on the floor, stay on your right elbow, lift your upper body just enough that you can start to tilt your weight towards that right upper quad and start to draw your body forward and back 1 inch. So now most of your weight's on the right quad. Your left one is still on the roller, but you might feel a little bit more going on so on the right side, right up towards the top outer edge. It can be a little intense, but that's where we get so tight, where it attaches up in our hip flexors. Now you're going to drop back to your left elbow, and we're going to place our right hand on the floor, our body center, lengthen through the spine, start to lift and twist slightly to your left. Just enough to get enough weight on that left leg so you can move forward and back 1 inch, right at the top of those quads. Find your breath. Notice what's going on. And then we're going to lower our right arm back to the floor. Then walk your hands forward, bring that roller down about to the middle of your upper quads, and then just put your toes on the floor, or you can relax them, but I want you to rotate your right hip towards the roller and then rotate your left hip. So yes, you are rolling across that roller, across the thighs. Then draw your hands forward and your elbows forward, move the roller up 1 inch, or down 1 inch, excuse me, and then gently again rock and roll side to side across those thighs. We're almost done with the rolling, and then we're going to go to the stretching. So stick with me as we stretch all the different areas that we rolled after this. And it will feel so good. You're going to lengthen the tissue, and it hydrates. Hydrates when we stretch. One last one. Now that we're down by the knees, I want you to tuck your toes under, place them on the floor, and assist your legs to walk as wide as they can on the roller. And then bend the knees and bring your feet together. So your legs are nice and wide, and then you're going to use your arms to glide yourself backwards to go towards the top of the roller to the top of the thighs, and then down again. So we're getting more of the inside front edge. And we had gotten a little more of the upper outer edge earlier. Couple rolls forward and back. Last one. Now we're going to end with the roller higher up on the thighs. You can let go, releasing those legs. Bring your feet to the floor. Go ahead and slide off of the back of your roller. Now you're going to keep the roller in front of you. Have your knees apart and your feet together. Bring your hands to the roller. And then first start to just slide yourself forward. So you're rolling your hands out, your knees apart. We're going to stretch the quads over the knees. Try to find your child's pose. Bring your belly between your thighs, head towards the floor. You're also getting a nice stretch through the armpits and maybe the back where we rolled earlier. Find your breath. One more breath. Then you're going to come up and bring the roller back towards you. Place your hands in front of the roller on the floor. Tuck your toes. Now a couple options here. You can tuck your toes way under and slide your hips back to your heels, stretching out through the bottom of the ankles and the calf, a little bit of the soleus there. Then if you want to go a little deeper into those calf muscles that we stretched and massaged so good with we're going to stretch, we massage so good with the tennis ball, come to a downward facing dog. Do a couple shifts with the hips, pedal the feet, bending and straightening the knees, and then press your right heel towards the floor, cross your left ankle over the right, and then just do a nice shift with your hips, pushing your hips towards the ceiling, and then draw your shoulders away from the ears. So you're really stretching out through that calf all the way down into the ankle, and then pause, hold here. Take a deep breath in, and then when you let it out, we're going to unhook that left foot, and then place the left foot on the floor and take your right over the left ankle. And again, start to shift your hips side to side first. Noticing which side, which calf might be a little tighter. And then press those hips upward. Feel the heel pressing towards the floor. Draw the shoulders away from the ears. Find your breath. One more breath. And then we're going to uncross that right foot. Place both heels down. Bend the knees slightly. Draw the hips back up into the toes. And then go ahead and lower your knees all the way back down to the floor. Separate your knees. We're going to do another child's pose here. This time you're going to go ahead and keep your roller there. Draw your belly towards your thighs. Keep your right hand on the roller, and then take your left palm upward and slide it underneath, like you're threading the needle. Let's stretch that upper back that we had rolled. With your hand on the roller too, we're getting a little stretch there. Wiggle those left fingertips. Feel the nice stretch through the upper back, the shoulder. One more breath. Slowly lifting your head. Go ahead and place your left hand on the roller. And take your right hand off and slide your right palm upward under your left arm. Threading the needle, lowering your head towards the floor. wiggling the fingers, really stretching out that left arm as well. So you're getting a nice stretch through the right back shoulder blade and the shoulder. And that feels so good. Just also helps our posture because we can move better. Our back feels better. Now we're going to slowly come all the way back up, lengthening through the spine. Go ahead and slide your roller out of the way. And we're going to come to a seated posture and bring your legs out in front of you. So this is the fun part. You rolled everything, you get to stretch it out now. So a couple options. One is to keep your right leg straight and then just cross your left leg over and give it a squeeze if you'd like. Now if you're a little bit more mobile and you want to try, what you can also do is keep your left knee bent. Pull your right heel to your left hip. Just tuck it under. We're still going to bend that left knee, but we're going to bring it across that right thigh and give it a squeeze in. Lengthen through the spine, reach your left arm behind you. So now we're really stretching through that hip and that glute. Remember we rolled that TFL there? And just stretch it all out. Feels so good. And finding your breath. Maybe look behind you a little more, get more of a twist. We're still breathing. So the stretches you want to hold, minimum 10 seconds, 20 is better, 30 is best. For time's sake, so we can get through them all, we're not going to quite do a whole 30. So we're going to rotate back to center, release that left foot, extend the legs, give them a little shake, see how things feel. So now we're going to go to the right leg. You're going to pull it across the left thigh, give it a squeeze. If you want to go a little more, you can tuck your left foot underneath the right and pull that right leg across, give it a tuck and a squeeze and a twist, lengthen through the spine, look behind you, and we're finding our breath. Notice which hip and glute might feel a little more restricted. No judgment, we're just observing our bodies. Just notice the difference. Feel that nice stretch coming in through the glute and the hip. Almost there. And then we're going to release. Now we're going to unwind. We have one more for the TFL. So come back to tabletop and hands and knees. You're going to take your right leg straight to the back of the mat. Toe is tucked under. Now you're going to take that right toe and slide it across to the left side of your mat as far as you comfortably can, keeping that leg straight. Now you start to twist the upper body towards the left, looking over your left shoulder towards that right foot. And you might feel, everybody's a little different. You might feel the stretch in the right side of the rib cage. Maybe you feel it through the hip. Maybe you feel it on the left. Everyone's a little different, like I said. Straighten out that leg. Now the toes, let's change them up. Place the top of the foot on the floor and continue to twist. Finding your breath. Getting a little more into that TFL here. Even if you're not feeling it, that's all right. It's stretching out. Rotate the upper body back to neutral. Bring that right knee back onto the floor. Now you're going to extend the left leg to the back of the mat. Toes tucked under. Engaging that core. Bring that left foot now across the body to the right. The leg is straight. You can always have your elbows on the roller or the floor if this is hard on your wrists. Now twist the upper body to the right. Look back at that foot behind you. And just notice the difference on this side. Now that those toes, we're going to tuck them under. So actually release them and then place the top of the foot on the floor. Keeping that leg straight. Then bring the upper body back to neutral. Bring the knee back onto the floor. Now you're going to get your roller. We're going to bring it onto the mat, and now what we're going to do is you're going to adjust so you can bring the roller behind you and sit on the edge of your roller. Both feet flat on the floor, knees bent. Now we're going to roll back and we're going to lay longwise on the roller. So slowly moving yourself all the way back down. Now when you come down onto the roller, make sure that head is completely supported on the roller. So once you're there, adjust those hips, make sure, feel your back connecting with that foam roller. And then let's stretch out the arms and the chest by extending the arms out to the side and just feeling that nice chest opener and feeling the breath coming in and out through the nose. And you might feel some energy running through the body. That's a good thing. Slowly sweep both arms up, overhead. If they can't stay on the floor, that's okay. Do the best you can. Lengthening, maybe touching the fingers, and then slowly let those arms drift back to the sides, out to a T, backs of the hands on the floor. And just again, feel the stretch, notice what's tight. If you need to work more on the chest wall, that would be a different video. So check out the video on how to roll the front of the body. Slowly bring both hands next to the body. So we're going to finish it up just with a little bit of a core engagement here. Fingertips to the floor, only your fingertips are touching the floor. Making sure your back is nice and strong, belly is pulled in, and you're connecting with the roller the best that you can. And then bring your right knee up to a 90-degree angle. Flex your right foot. And make sure the knee's not pulled in too tight. You want to keep it 90 at the hip and the knee, the best that you can. Really feel that core engaging and lift your left foot up to join it. So again, feeling those core muscles, noticing if there's any shaking going on, getting into the balance. So we know our fascia tissue has nerve endings through all the different areas of the fascia tissue. So just stimulating our balance here to connect everything as well. And find your breath. Now I want you to slowly tap your right foot to the floor, the heel to the floor, knee bent, and then bring it back up. And now do the left, and bring it back up. Bring your feet and knees together, and now start to twist your hips. So as you rotate your hips, your feet go one side and the other like a boat rudder. Just a couple of those, again, connecting our brain and our nervous system together to move. Back to center. Very slowly, let your right foot go back to the floor. Knee is bent. Let the foot rest on the floor. Very slowly lower your left foot to the floor. Now both light feet are on the floor. Take a deep breath in. Exhale out, let your arms rest all the way down. Lift your head up and then roll off the side of the roller and push yourself all the way up to a seated position. Nice and tall. And sit however feels good to you. Pull the shoulders away from the ears, align the chin. Ears over shoulders, shoulders over hips. Notice if you feel a little taller, a little better posture. Take a deep breath in, reach the arms overhead. Exhale, palms to heart space. Thank you so much for joining me today. Namaste.